Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Welcome to the December 8th, 2025 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. As the hour is 6:40 p.m., I'm calling the meeting to order. And first business this evening is to go down to the wheelwright room for about 20 minutes. We have 2 board interviews we're going to conduct. And then we'll be back up here around 7 o'clock to start our regular business meeting. Thank you.
For this week's report, residents reimagine Swayze Parkway in a future with rising tides. The Select Board hears from advisory committees, and the holiday parade returns this Saturday. For Exeter TV, I'm Gabe Perez, and this is the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Exeter. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and like this video to help spread the word about the show and all things Exeter. You can also head over to the town website and subscribe to the town's email newsletter to get this show and other local news sent straight to your inbox. For our first segment, we attended an event hosted by Exeter Sustainability and Planning Department looking at different ways the town could work to enhance climate resiliency along Swayze Parkway.
With a future of predicted sea level rise, Exeter's waterfront required examination. Working with consultants and grant funding, the town hosted a public information session to give residents an opportunity to share their vision for the future of Swayze Parkway. The evening started off with a presentation from the consultants on the current and projected flooding along the Swampscott River. The presentation then turned to focus on the 3 main options the town has to deal with rising waters. These included resisting, with examples such as creating seawalls or elevating walkways and roadways to prevent flooding. The second method discussed was to accommodate by allowing and fostering the natural processes to take place as the water rises. This included conceptual ideas such as allowing the marshland to be restored by removing the Norris Brook Dam and restoring that area, or allowing the riverfront along the parkway to be restored into a marsh. The final method to deal with rising waters was to retreat. In this example, consultants discussed the potential of creating a floodable park. They showed what this could look like in Swayze alongside an existing design in Queens, New York at Hunters Point Park. Nick Messina, project manager and civil engineer with the consultants, was excited by this study.
Developing the accommodate and retreat strategies and doing some research into what other people were doing was extremely interesting. We saw those examples for the floodplain in Prague. We saw that park in Queens, New York. Those projects are on the cutting edge of climate adaptation strategies, and it's very cool to think about how they could be applied to this setting.
All of these designs and ideas were only conceptual, with the goal of fostering a robust discussion on the options the town may have to deal with rising waters in the future.
So the goal of tonight's event was to get community input, just to kind of do a collective brainstorming on what ideas this community feels are appropriate for different parts of the parkway. So people have been marking up the maps with some of their ideas. So I love that in the question and answer section, there was a whole array of responses. I thought that was really impressive, even as broad as, hey, let's look at Clemson Pond and restore that. I think we have an opportunity to sort of dream big at this stage and maybe pare it down based on what is realistic for the town and our timing.
Resident Silas Richards was also very excited that the town held this public information meeting.
I am super excited that the town is being proactive with this discussion, right? We're talking about a huge time frame, right? Humans are really have challenges with thinking that long term. So the fact that we're getting the community input on a treasured piece of property is a step in the right direction, and I'm happy to participate. I think the difference of opinions that came here to talk about the future of this place that has impacted many people. I am optimistic that the town is really going to consider everybody's input for this, and I truly hope that we are taking a step in the right direction.
If you missed the meeting, the full presentation is now available on Exeter TV. It's also not too late to share your thoughts on the future of Swayze Parkway and the town's efforts to enhance resilience along the waterfront. A survey is now live on the Sustainability and Planning Department's website, giving the public a chance to talk about what they love about Swayze Parkway, what methods for dealing with rising waters they would prefer, and how they'd like to stay engaged as the process continues. Exeter TV will follow the project and keep you updated as more meetings and reports are published. Stay tuned to Exeter TV for this and all things Exeter.
The Select Board had another packed agenda at their November 24th meeting. To get you up to speed, Dan Monchek has this recap from our Meeting Minutes series.
This is your meeting minute for the November 24th Select Board meeting. A few weeks ago, members from the Tax Exemption and Credit Advisory Committee came in front of the Select Board to discuss the potential adoption and changes to several tax exemptions and credits. Now that the full Select Board was present, they were ready to vote on whether or not these changes would be included as a warrant article at the next town election. The proposals include changes to elderly tax exemptions. Depending on an elderly person's age bracket, they would receive this dollar amount off their assessed property value, an increase of roughly 30% from what's currently offered. The committee also proposed increases to the income limits required to qualify for this exemption.
We also realized there may be some priorities that need to be made on these, and we wanted folks to know that our number one priority is the elderly exemptions for this coming warrant.
The committee also discussed the blind tax exemption and proposed an increase from $15,000 to $25,000 off their assessed property value. Both of these tax exemptions combined would result in $107,000 in taxes to be reallocated among the rest of the population.
It's important for people to understand that the taxes don't just go away. They're redistributed over the rest of the pool that doesn't qualify for these exemptions.
We are reallocating $107,000 of property taxes among
the rest of the property taxpayers.
Yep.
Thank you.
This works out to a projected $15 increase in taxes for a property valued at $500,000. The board went on to talk about two tax credits for veterans, beginning with the Disabled Veterans Tax Credit with a proposed increase of $500 for recipients. The board also discussed the proposed adoption of a $500 tax credit for all veterans. The current tax credit offered to veterans is only available to those that served in a qualifying war or armed conflict. With this proposed credit, all veterans would qualify regardless of when or where they served.
I'm really happy to see that we're making the recommendation to adopt the all veterans tax credit. I think I made my stance pretty clear the last time you were here, and that obviously hasn't changed. So,
the exact impact from this exemption on the rest of the taxpayers is unknown because there is no count of veterans in the state. But one member of the Tax Exemption and Credit Advisory Committee made an extrapolation based on statewide trends and within the county that roughly $30,000 would need to be redistributed among the rest of the taxpayers. The board unanimously voted to adopt these recommendations and include them as warrant articles at the town election in March. Up next, DPW Director Steve Cronin and Water Sewer Superintendent Steve Dalton were present to discuss a notice of violation the town received after an excess level of disinfectant byproduct was found in town drinking water. This problem arose as a result of the most recent drought that hit level 4 water restrictions. Mr. Dalton explained that a few years ago, in a previous drought, the treatment method the town used resulted in hydrants being flushed and a water tower being emptied. In order to combat this and avoid wasting water during a drought, the town increased levels of chloramine in the system.
The good news is we didn't really have to do any excessive flushing. We didn't waste any water in a drought year. The bad news is by having the extra disinfectant in the distribution system, it caused us to have a violation on the TTHM samples for Q4.
Doses of chloramine have already been reduced, and Mr. Dalton expects the town to be out of violation by the next sampling period in winter of 2026. At this time, no other source of water is necessary, as the impact from this byproduct is only harmful over extended periods of exposure.
and what, if any, effect does this have on folks at home?
So it's not an acute issue. It's more of a chronic issue. So over a long period of time, people with certain health issues could become affected with this over a long-term period of exposure. We're expecting that it's not going to last very long. We're going to try to mitigate it.
And this is one of the reasons why we're developing a wider suite of water resources.
Yes.
We just approved the easement on Drinkwater Lane. That's going to give us more groundwater resources.
Yes.
Where chloramine and organics will not be an issue.
That's correct.
Yep. We're also in design for the surface water treatment plant right now, and we're looking at technologies that have enhanced organic removal. Ideally what we're trying to do is remove organics as early in the process as possible so that we're not having that mixture of organics and chlorine on the back end that are creating these issues in the system.
The next select board meeting will be held on March 8th in the Novak Room. See you there.
As you all can tell from behind me, Exeter is getting in the holiday spirit. For our last segment, we have one final reminder about this year's holiday parade.
Tomorrow's the big day. The Exeter Holiday Parade returns for another year of amazing floats and Santa's super serious sleigh. The parade kicks off at 5:30 from the Osram plant at 131 Portsmouth Ave, making most of its journey through the end of Portsmouth Avenue onto High Street, down through downtown Water Street, and ends in Swayze Parkway. So pick a place to sit on the sides and have some good old holiday cheer. There will also be a sensory viewing area near the start of the parade between New England Pizza and Bank Prov, for anyone who may be a little more sensitive to the loudness a parade can bring. If you're unable to attend the parade in person, look no further than to Exeter TV's very own live broadcast on YouTube, Comcast Channel 6, and on our Roku app. We'll cover the parade from the bandstand, so you can see the whole thing in its downtown glory. But don't let the parade be all you.
I don't like to be on the phone. It just looks rude. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome back to the December 8th, 2025 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. The board was downstairs for the last 20 minutes conducting 2 board interviews. We're back now to commence our regular business meeting. So good evening to Exeter, good evening to my colleagues on the board, respective town staff, those in attendance this evening, and certainly those watching at home. I'd like to start by introducing the board. And to my right is Selectman Dan Chartrand. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Our Vice Chair, Selectwoman Wally Cowan. Good evening.
Good evening.
To my left is our Clerk, Selectwoman Nancy Belanger.
Good evening, everyone.
Selectwoman Julie Gilman. Good evening.
Good evening.
Our Interim Town Manager down to the right, Melissa Roy. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Our Recording Secretary, Joanna Bartel. Good evening. And my name is Nico Papakostendis. First order of business this evening is a bid opening for the 2025 Annual Town Report. Madam Clerk, we have one bid,
Oh, okay.
I believe.
The envelope helps me with the spelling if I can. No, they didn't. Never mind.
Let's see. This is from Select Print Solutions. And Select Print Solutions is located in Sutton, Massachusetts. And for quote item number 1, $4,245. For quote item number 2, 3.2 cents. And for quote item number 3, 1.6 cents.
Okay, thank you.
You got that?
I do.
So we have this one bid. I would entertain a motion to refer the bid to the town manager's office to make a recommendation to the select board.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Does
Next.
it go to Joanna so she can?
It goes actually to Melissa.
Okay.
Thank you. Excuse me. Next up, we have public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to come forward with comment. We do ask that if any of the comment is relative to an agenda item, you wait till that item comes up, but I'll pause to see if there's any public for comment. And there's nobody online, so we will move forward. Next order of business is to review the regular meeting minutes of November 24th, 2025. I'd ask the board if there are any revisions or amendments.
I have none.
Okay.
I have none.
And seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the Town of Exeter Select Board regular meeting minutes of November 24th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We had 2 interviews for 3 positions downstairs. We interviewed Carol Olmsted, who's interested in the alternate position for the Facilities Advisory Committee, and also the alternate position for the Sustainability Advisory Committee. And I asked the interim town manager, were there, the term limits for these 2 alternate positions?
Yes. Did you say the term limits?
Or the
Yeah,
date
okay.
of the,
Yep.
the
Let me
current term.
pull that up for you. All right, so we have 2 alternates for 2026 for the Train Committee.
Yep.
For Facilities Committee, we have alternate till 2027.
Yep.
And Sustainability alternate 2027 as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I would entertain a motion to appoint Carol Olmsted to the alternate Facilities Advisory Committee position with a term to expire April 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I would entertain a motion to appoint Carol Olmsted to the alternate position on the Sustainability Advisory Committee with a term to expire April 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great, and we thank Carol for volunteering for both committees. At this time, I would entertain a motion to appoint Tony Calandrello to one of the 2 alternate positions on the Train Committee with a term to expire April 2026.
I'll move that as well.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Tony, for volunteering for the Train Committee. We're ready for our discussion items. We have the one of the co-chairs of the 250 Celebration Commission, Karen Pryor, is with us this evening to review a budget request. Good evening. Welcome back.
I know, I'm here like regular, I'm a regular.
Love it.
I won't take much of your time tonight. You all have received the Celebration Commission budget request. As you know, the 250 Celebration Commission has met with the Budget Recommendations Committee, and we're not asking the town for any funding other than the $5,000 that was approved in 2025. But we also would like to get your approval on the budget as presented. The total was $25,815. Approximately $26,000, and we have about half of that raised already. And we would just like you to review and approve our budget.
And if I may?
Please.
As part of that motion, it would be wonderful if you wouldn't mind or consider having the requests come to me so that they don't have to come to you every time. So it would be for approval of the budget to be spent up to what dollars they have raised or fundraised through the town manager's office, if that's works.
Okay.
I was under the impression that we want to be working with Parks and Recreation and that everything would be going through them.
We would go through Park and Rec, but they would
Okay,
just send
thank
it
you
to me.
for
It's just the background signing of
I
it. Yeah.
appreciate it, thank you.
No worries.
And as you know, too, we're not accepting donations. Everything's going to be targeted as a sponsorship,
Okay.
which will streamline processes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Mrs. Pryor? And so the amount is $25,815?
Correct.
Okay.
That was what was presented on the budget request.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion that the Select Board approve the 250 Celebration Commission budget of $25,815 and also authorize the expenditure requests to go through the town manager's office.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Please.
So just to be very clear, we're not pushing this forward to the warrant for approval by the voters. We're just going to basically take the money in and agree to spend it on behalf of the
And as Mrs. Pryor said, the difference is they're asking for sponsorships and not donations. Donations would all have to come through the board.
Got it.
With the sponsorship program, it can go through the town manager's office at Park and Rec, and it just makes the process easier for the committee as well as for the town.
So this has no impact on the tax?
No tax impact whatsoever.
Got it.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Karen, did you want to say something? Are you okay?
No, after your
Okay.
vote, please.
It's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one other quick item that I wanted to bring before you. As everyone knows, the 250 Commission is a one-year commission. We expire on December 31st, 2026. One of our real goals is to shine a spotlight on the town of Exeter, and what we would like to officially be able to do is promote that we are in partnership with, and the 4 major organizations or departments that we would like to be able to promote is in partnership with is the Exeter Public Library, the American Independence Museum, the Historical Society, and Exeter Parks and Recreation, so that would actually be on our website that we would say in partnership with. And I just want to make sure that that is okay with all, and potentially the Chamber of Commerce as well. So it could be up to those 5. We'll be partnering with and collaborating with lots of other organizations, but several of those people actually serve as advisors on our commission. They're not voting members, but they are. So I just wanted to put that before you to make sure that that was okay.
My take on that is life is better with partners, so by all means, have at it. Have at it.
I mean, I have no objections.
I
Any
don't
objections
either.
from the board?
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to come back and ask. for
No,
forgiveness.
no. But thank you for asking.
Thank you
That's-
very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
appreciate
Karen.
it. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. And next on our agenda, we have the Chair of the Budget Recommendations Committee, Mr. Bob Kelly, is here to present the FY26 budget recommendations from the BRC. Mr. Kelly, good evening.
Good evening to you all. It's been a solid, 3 or 4 weeks since I've been here.
Has it been that long since you get, really?
Really.
Seems like yesterday, Bob.
So thank you for having me. We had 12 people on the budget committee this year. It was an excellent group, about maybe 2/3 of folks who have been there for over 5 years, and then a few relative newcomers that have been there just a few years, and it was a really good mix. It's always nice to get new blood and new perspectives on especially young people as they would like to move into town and take advantage of what Exeter has to offer. So it was a good run. I'd like to begin my presentation by acknowledging these people, if
Please.
that would be okay.
Yes.
Again, I'm Bob Kelly. I'm the chair of the committee, but we also had 11 other members: Liz Canada, Jay Childs, Don Cloutier, Andrew Elliott, Anna Grazer, Fran Hall, Amanda Kelly, David Kovar, Judy Rowan, Chris Suter, and Chris Zigmont were members of the committee. And they were very engaged, and we had some lively discussions, and I'm very indebted to these folks for helping me out and then being able to present to you folks. And then also a shout out to both Melissa and Corey. They were very integral in meeting with me as well as other members of the committee throughout the process, not just in official subcommittee meetings and our official meetings, sort of helping. Corey had a really good pulse on budget issues and encumbered funds and things like that, and Melissa was very forward-thinking on a lot of items that, despite me doing this for 16 years, sort of went off the grid. So I appreciate both of your help in all of this. So you have the report. It was in the packet, so it's available for public review. I'll try to be brief and really make this a summary instead of going over every item. But starting with the general fund, there were several reasons for a fairly significant increase in the general fund budget this year. It's up almost 12% over the 2025 budget. Started off a little over 12%, and we were able to make some reallocations of some items to get that down a little bit. And Corey just informed me that redoing some of the benefits over the last couple of weeks has reduced it a little bit more. So I think it's 11.8. You said over percent over as it stands right now before your folks' deliberation. The primary driver, as it says in the report, our final recommended budget was about $2.9 million over the 25 budget. 1.7 of that is the first payment on the public safety complex. This project was overwhelmingly approved in March and of last year, and it's a great project for the town of Exeter. A long time coming, replacing a 1979 facility, and this will help keep our law enforcement and firefighting facilities up to snuff for the next 50 years. But it's going to add quite a bit to the tax base. So, but that was of our own doing, and again, it was overwhelmingly approved. There were also new collective bargaining agreements with many of the labor unions in town. That increased items a lot, and then sort of out of left field a little bit. In addition to health insurance increases, we had significant increases in property and vehicle insurance this year. So when you add all of those up, that added, it was well over $200,000, I think, in just insurance add-ons from the year before, which is frustrating. As anybody reads the news knows that there's a lot of cyber attacks on public utilities these days, especially water supply. So we have had to upgrade our IT department resources significantly over the past 3 years, and this year was no different than that, providing the equipment as well as infrastructure for our IT folks, and they do a fantastic job. Knock on wood, no issues yet. We also have a lot of vehicle and building maintenance costs. Those either went up or certainly were level funded. A lot of the facilities in town are older, another year older, and we try to maintain things as well as we can, as opposed to building new facilities. And that's been sort of an Exeter ethos for as long as I've been around. So it seems to be working pretty well. It's a historic town, and we like to keep the historic flavor of that. So again, maintenance costs continue to rise as contractors are more and more scarce. So those are the big items. A couple of let's say items that sort of get hidden in the budget, but we would want to point out to you folks to consider. The library and the committee had some extensive discussions, a lot more than we have in the past, and for the specific reason, as you know, the RSAs dictate that libraries are administratively autonomous from the town. Even though we approve their budget, they run through their board of trustees and their executive director, and for the most part, they do a wonderful job on the library part of it, and I want to make that very clear. There were a couple of items, especially when it comes to building maintenance and equipment maintenance. They don't have the bandwidth for that, the knowledge, the skill sets of that, and yet they sort of over the past several years, it's not just this year, have sort of let that fester a little bit, and there have been some expense run-ups over the past 2 years specifically. That they needed some assistance with. So we sort of struck a bargain with them in that our financial folks, Corey in particular, would provide them a little bit more support than they have asked for in the past. And we sort of said, look, we have these skills. Let's try to keep you from this happening again. And they agreed to that. And in addition, our Public Works Department has some excellent folks who are knowledgeable about the mechanical aspects of that building. Even though the building, well, it was new in 1987, I think, and then there was that renovation a few years ago, but a lot of the old facilities from 35 years ago, or whatever the math is, were not upgraded. So they've had a run of bad luck. So between Public Works and our finance folks, we're going to try to assist them. But the upshot is that we had to increase the public services budget by about 20%, $40,000, to try to get them back to square one, give Julia the resources that she needs to run the library and not have to worry about the HVAC going down in the middle of July. So I think we're on good footing right now with that. Everybody seems to be happy and looking forward to a more interactive process than perhaps the RSAs would dictate. I mean, when it all comes down to it, it's just people working together. So regardless of what the law says, let's work together and make sure that it's a good service for the town of Exeter. So that was, I think, everyone's goal. And then the last item in the general fund is the miscellaneous fire protection fee. This was instituted in 2023. It's basically a chargeback from the general fund to the water fund as an allocation for fire flows. The water ratepayers have basically funded the facilities and the piping and the labor and equipment and everything associated with providing fire flows, even though the whole town, and especially the commercial district, benefits from having fire hydrants, larger pipes than normal in order to keep fire flows going. So American Water Works Association has a very detailed analysis that allocates, the size of your water department and the size of your town, how much that chargeback should be. We are way below still what it should be, but we recommended that we keep going in a positive direction on that. The original budget had that as level funded, and we wanted to throw in $25,000 over a $130,000 budget from last year just to keep that momentum. We're supposed to be, according to AWWA, at about $750,000. So we're well below it, but we want to make ongoing progress. Water and sewer funds were not up very much at all, and what increases there were due primarily to the CBA increases as well as chemical increases. Most all of the chemicals for water treatment and sewage treatment are made overseas. So tariffs hit us very hard, and supply chain issues have been a problem for years. So a lot of times the folks out on Newfields Road have to order larger quantities, just because sometimes they don't know if they're going to get them in time, and not having not having those treatment chemicals is a catastrophe. So we need to stay on top of that, and the price increases have been the primary driver for those two budgets. One item I want to bring to your attention, because you will be involved in this hopefully soon. In the capital outlay budget on the water fund, there were a number of unexpended items for a variety of reasons, but we recommend, and those were getting carried over into 2026. We didn't really want to do it that much, and I understand the money doesn't go away, it just goes into the reserve account. But the reserve accounts on both water and sewer are very, very healthy right now. The rates that we redid last year, and even with some conservation and the drought and everything, those funds are in very, very good shape and give us a lot of flexibility. But we still want to budget it appropriately. So hopefully the Public Works Department will be coming to you soon to encumber some funds into next year, because there are a number of projects that need to be done, and instead of just having the budget sit there for this year and rolling over to next year, and they still need the money next year, so it's a new budget, we recommended that they encumber funds from this year's budget, of which they have plenty of money. So hopefully they are able to do that. And Corey is well aware of this and knows which accounts are going to be affected. On the CIP program, Capital Improvement Program, there were a lot less items this year, due primarily to the very good work at policing the various department requests by our interim town manager. Thank you very much for being the hard guy this year. Okay. And Corey as her, having the financial numbers to back her up. So that, it was a very good effort to keep the CIP program lean this year in advance of the $1.7 million public safety payment and all of that. But we did approve and supported a few items of interest. One is the design portion for a new surface water treatment plant. The Portsmouth Ave facility, which draws off of the river as well as the reservoir, is parts of it are coming up on 100 years old, but most of the plant is 50 to 60 years old. We've done some replacement of equipment, but it's an outdated facility, certainly with regard to current regulations. And so there's also a sort of a window of opportunity right now. There's potentially $500,000 of loan forgiveness out there for us, as well as low-interest loans. Again, with the volatility of the financial markets these days, we don't know how long low-interest loans are going to be around. So we felt that it was important. We're going to do this project at some point. Personally, I was hoping it'd be a few years down the road and let the public safety complex and other things sort of settle out. But the financial impacts of waiting are, could be several $100,000. So we recommended we go ahead on that this year. Other items of critical interest would be the library maintenance fund. They did have a maintenance fund for the HVAC and other building items. For some inexplicable reason, it sort of waned a few years ago. They asked that it be reinstituted, and we wholeheartedly supported that. They wanted $75,000 as a one-shot deal, and we suggested they do $25,000 every year, in the foreseeable future until they get things stabilized, which they actually ended up thinking that was a better way to go. So they should be in good shape for the foreseeable future, and that is our goal. And a couple of aged vehicles that are well over 10 years old and a lot of miles on them are being recommended for replacement. Usually we have a half a dozen or so vehicles that we cycle through, so we're doing 2 this year, not including police cruisers. So overall, we really we're thankful that the executive team did a lot of initial scrubbing of this budget, made our job a lot easier. Wasn't totally easy, but it was easier. And their decisions were pretty much supported down the line. So again, thanks to Melissa and Corey. I gave you a year over year. I started this with this report in 2020. I just keep adding to it. I should maybe cap it at 4 or 5 years, but I think it's sort of interesting to see how the various funds have increased. Sometimes we've added around $1 million. Again, this year we're adding almost $3 million, mostly because of the public safety complex. But it's instructive to see that we're not always just buying a bunch of vehicles and doing a bunch of projects. Sometimes we've done as much as $2 million worth of projects. This year we're less than $500,000 in vehicles and projects. So the budget committee is, we're all taxpayers. We're keenly aware of the financial impacts of these budgets, and if it's a really good year, then we plan accordingly. If it's a tough year like this year and last year, we likewise respond to that. So that table sort of is a nice summary ongoing of how things have gone, effectively post-COVID. Again, I think in general we're in pretty good shape. So to conclude, the committee really likes working, with the select board. A lot of you come to our meetings, provide us input, and we feel like we're really doing some interesting and beneficial work to sort of massage the budget part of it so that you folks don't have to slash and burn or add a lot of things that we forgot. So we take our job seriously, and it's 12 people who are committed to the betterment of the town, and I think this budget will do that. So ask away. Obviously, tonight is the initial presentation. You'll have another meeting in, January, where you discuss
So we'll,
details.
first of all, your last sentence, thank you for the opportunity to serve the town of Exeter and its select board. We'd like to thank you and the 11 members that you outlined, and the vice chair, Anna Grazier, who did a really nice job working with you this year. Thank you for the work that you do. It really is roll up your sleeves from the end of August through the beginning, mid-November. You do make our jobs a lot easier, and most of us come to your meetings, but we want to thank you for the work that you've done. One thing I want to ask you, though, not ask you, but maybe the one warrant article that did not pass last year was the street sweeper, and it's back on the warrant this year. You all deliberated, and I just want the public to be aware that we're not just buying a street sweeper for the sake of buying a street sweeper. It actually, and I don't know, Melissa, if you want to,
Sure.
The more we start advertising that now, get that message across.
This has been my soapbox. So I one of the takeaways after voting last year, people thought it was a beautification tool. And although that helps, it does help our community look great. It's actually part of our nitrogen reduction plan. And the reason that is important is our permit for our discharge into the river. And we're allowed to discharge into the river up to certain nitrogen percentages. And what we do is when we sweep the streets, we pull up all of that debris, grass clippings, things that could have fertilizer on them, all of that, and we pull that out of our water stream rather than it going into our stormwater and that kind of stuff. And so our current wastewater treatment plant is set up to handle a certain nitrogen load. If DES comes back and says we need to reduce that, that would cost us a significant amount of money in retrofitting our water treatment or wastewater treatment plant. So we really would like to remove this debris before it gets into our system, and that street sweeper is what helps with that process. So it's my goal to try to educate people that Yes, it does make it look very nice, but it's not for beautification. It's actually to try to get debris and contaminants out of our system. So thank you for
Ultimately,
asking.
Cost savings expense.
Yes, exactly.
Not just another toy for the.
Yes,
right.
we don't have toys, but yeah.
And that piece of equipment runs, fairly constantly.
Correct.
And it's a very corrosive environment, as you can imagine. So regardless of the street sweeper part of it, it's an integral part of the equipment fleet, and it gets used a lot. It's like the Vector truck, the vacuum truck. It's a very unforgiving environment, and they basically have a 5 or 6 year lifespan, and ours are being held together by Band-Aids and duct tape. So.
And they're fairly expensive, and the state is willing to chip in on this because of the nitrogen reduction program and its importance. So
We will be getting that word out over the next few months.
yes,
Sure.
I will be telling everybody I see as well.
So, working backwards, the budget hearing is January 20th. That's the third Tuesday in January. And we will have 2 select board meetings before that, the 22nd of this month and January 5th. So what I would like to ask the board is, I'm going to put the budget on the agenda for the 22nd and the 5th. Let's go through the recommendations, go through the budget, and if there's anything we want to talk about, that'll be the opportunity, or if not, we'll move forward for the budget hearing on the 20th. But while we have the chair here, are there any questions for Mr. Kelly? Mr. Chartrand.
What is the cost on the design for the new water treatment plant?
$2 million.
Thank you. And go ahead.
We allocated $500,000 last year to do some investigatory work and preliminary work to get that going, and to sort of see what the number this year should be. So we're hoping to get that $500,000 loan forgiveness and then a low interest loan. So, but the total is budgeted to be $2.5 million, between $500,000 last year and $2 million this year.
So it'll appear on the warrant as
$2 million.
$2 million. And just to be clear, that impacts our users' water rates, not the tax rate.
Correct. Just the water rate.
So far and away, the largest item that will appear on the warrant, as it's currently kind of configured or projected, is this item. And it does not affect the tax rate.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Any questions down here for Mr. Kelly?
So I should know this, but those meetings are basically working sessions, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be here at the meetings, just
Perfect.
in case there's clarification.
I was hoping you'd offer.
I am doing a bit of traveling over the next few weeks, but
well,
I will be here.
We will take advantage of whatever time you can give us.
I can be.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to, again, repeat, every year we try to balance our budget to the best of our ability. In all the years that I've been involved in the budget process, this is probably the most difficult because of our health insurance, of our pay negotiations, and the huge percentage of our liability insurance that we did not get notice of until we got the bill in the mail. Thank you for following up on that, Corey. So I just really want to, again, thank you, like I do every year, you and the committee. They really understood the charge and going in. Also, that the Budget Recommendation Committee, that very first meeting, complimented our interim town manager, our finance director, for the process that happened this year. And how tight this budget already was. So I just really want to stress that and thank everyone, because this is an unusually difficult year. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to, sort of second that. I had the opportunity and the privilege from July through September to sit with the executive team, Mr. Stevens, Ms. Roy, and Mr. Kelly. And there was a lot of good discussion, a lot of hard work internally with the E-team, but with the department heads as well. And it was collaborative. And during your ops meetings, and this comes back to the Keegan report.
It really does.
We always come back to that money well spent for that report. And this year, months before the BRC came together in September, the department heads were working collaboratively, understanding what each needs were, what was a priority, what could wait. So it was a very collaborative working that way with the department heads. So I'm appreciative of the work that you and Corey did there. And folks need to understand, and I think, I said this during the kickoff, they've heard it from us at deliberative session in the last few years, that it's become very competitive out there. And it's not exclusive to the seacoast. It's not exclusive to New Hampshire, New England. It's very competitive, particularly with police, fire, and public works. And the collective bargaining agreements that were presented to the voters, who in turn voted to pass them, were very fair, not only to the employees, but to the town. And there's a price to pay for that, but it's a lot less expensive to retain talented employees than to have to go out and recruit, retrain, recruit again, and retrain. So it's very painful to sit before the legislative body and ask for a 12% increase, but it's going towards a lot of what we've already asked them to vote on. And again, we need to stay competitive because we do have talented staff, and they work hard for our community, and
Right.
there's a price to that.
And at this point, I don't think we've really seen a severe impact on our services, but if we kept going with our vacancies, we were going to start seeing some severe impacts.
Absolutely.
And I don't think anyone wants that. So, yes.
What always impresses me about this town is that we approve projects 60, 70% over the last, there were some years ago where things were dicey, but the last 5 or 6 years, people have been very supportive of the projects, almost unanimously, the street sweeper last year notwithstanding. And I think the reason for that is that there is such a process, whereas the department heads, many of whom live in town, it's you folks, it's the committees. And so people know in general that there's a lot of fingers, sticking into these pies, and it's not just, well, let's go buy a fire truck or let's do a park. We actually think about those things, and we'd love to do all the projects, but you've got to prioritize them and organize them so that over the next 10 years, you're not breaking the bank.
There's a plan and a process.
Yeah, it really, I think people understand that. Their votes would seem to indicate that they do.
Yeah.
As painful as it is.
And that our department heads and our executive staff are always looking at innovative ways to do better when we have obstacles. So it's just collaborative teamwork, and I can't stress that enough, how important and how much it's appreciated.
And I was going to save this for later in the meeting, but just an example of what you said. For the last 10 years or so, we've been trying to promote building something at the rec park for like a community center and fields and all of that. And each time we presented an idea, it declined in voting to the point where in March of 2020, it failed miserably, with a 36% of the vote. Bless you. But we keep working. And we had an opportunity to purchase 10 Hampton Road. A long story short, we had the ribbon opening this afternoon. It was packed.
I'm so glad.
With multi-generations of folks in Exeter. And as I walked in, it was really nice to hear a member of our community smile as she stopped me and said, "It's nice to celebrate some good news."
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good about the work that we do to try to find ways to make things happen.
Yeah, to your point, Mr. Chair, that's a project that followed a very familiar pattern. We had some ideas about what was needed, and the voters consistently said no to the conception. And so we pulled it back and we reconceived. And when an opportunity came up, we presented it. And that's when the voters said yes. So often that happens where we'll have an initial conception, and the voters in their wisdom say no. But then we keep working at it, and we come up with a different conception, and they will eventually say yes, because they can see the elbow grease that's been put on that project. So that multi-generational community center, and now also the headquarters of our Parks and Rec Department is out on Hampton Road, and it's a great facility, and it was obtained at a great price, thanks to the opportunity that came up and the money that came from, help me, the organization? CDFA, thank you. So we keep working at it, and eventually we find the right conception, and the voters in their wisdom say yes.
Yeah,
It's a good process.
And to elaborate on, so people at home are understanding this too. We have a plan. The CIP, the plan. But our department heads are always looking for grant opportunities. And that is when we really try to present them, when we have an option of funding for a mechanism, if you will. So yes, we have this great 10 Hampton Road, which I am so sorry I didn't get to that opening this afternoon. But we had grants, right, that helped to decrease the cost of that wonderful building that has a great future for us. So it's a process.
It is a process, and frustratingly slow at times, but
sometimes, but that's okay.
Patience.
I've learned
We
to.
get there. Patience.
I've learned to appreciate that. So.
Thank you for this report, and thank you for leading the committee once again this year. Great job.
All right. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
How many years?
Thank you.
How many years have you been doing this one? Again?
16.
See? Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thanks, Bob.
Safe travels.
Okay, next up we have a presentation from our Conservation and Sustainability Planner, who I believe is on Zoom, and Mr. Stevens.
Oh, good.
Can we get Kristen?
everyone.
I think Kristen's.
Hi, everyone.
There she is.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank goodness.
We are ready when you are.
All right. So as you all may recall, earlier this year we had our solar array finally come online out at Crossroad. And since about that time, Kristen Murphy and I have been working on vetting renewable energy credit brokers so that we can sell the renewable energy credits that the solar array can generate. And that's part of the revenue model that was contemplated when they designed and constructed the solar array to help pay back, at least initially, the debt service on the construction project. Excuse me. So we've spent the last 3 or 4 months looking at different energy brokers and have settled on a company out of New Jersey that is active in both New Hampshire and Massachusetts called Knollwood Energy. We worked with them, vetted them through our legal, and came up with an agreement that we could all agree upon, and that is before you this evening. So we are looking for a motion to authorize interim town manager to execute the agreement with Knollwood Energy. This agreement would be a 1 year with an auto renewal unless we decide to opt out. And we would look to probably start it around the first of the year once we get everything dialed in. They came recommended to us by Revision Energy, who constructed the array for us. We've also spoke to other communities that are using Knollwood presently to sell their RECs in the marketplace.
And can you or Kristen or Melissa, for that matter, explain how the proceeds are to be used initially and then ultimately what the goal is?
Sure. Kristen, you want to, or?
Sure. I mean, way back when we sort of envisioned the financing and the cost to the taxpayers of the solar array, and, you know, Dave Sharples was researching ways to make it viable, a component of kind of the financing portfolio included selling these renewable energy credits. And it can be substantial funds back to the community, and that would go to pay back the bond. So it's 80, it can be as much as 80. The credits are based, it's a market rate, but could be as much as $80,000 a year. So that does have the ability to really bring us forward to the point where we'll start to generate income from the solar array.
Great, thank you for that.
On top of the RECs, renewable energy credits, we are also getting net metering credits from Unitil in the form of a check each month. And through the summer months, we were getting anywhere from 25 to 30 grand a month in a check back. So this is new in its infancy. I don't know what it's going to look like in the depths of winter, but for now it's been pretty good. So between the RECs and the net metering revenue, and if we're fortunate to navigate the reimbursable credit when we file for it next year with the federal government, that's another $1 million we'll bring in. All that will go into the revolving fund that voters approved this year to basically have the solar array run. So that'll be revenue in. We'll pay the bond with it. We'll also provide, do any maintenance that needs to be done, mowing out on the array, and just sort of have it be hopefully a self-sustaining thing until we can pay off that debt, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Any questions for Selectwoman Gilman?
I just had I've seen a couple of things recently, and you're mentioning the mowing around the array. And Kristen, I'm going to ask you, have you heard about, I don't know which town it is, but they have a large solar array, and they've made it a pollinator path so that they're not mowing as much, but shorter flowers, I guess. And then the other one I saw was a place that has sheep eating the grass instead of using the mowing.
Yeah, that didn't work too well, but I'll let Kristen explain why the sheep idea was not a good idea.
Well, sheep would be great. It's goats that could be dangerous because they like to climb, and we certainly don't want them doing that on the solar array. But there are, there are models out there, even in New Hampshire, of farms that are partnering with solar array, large scale solar arrays for grazing. So I think it's something that, is certainly there in my mind of something we could explore. There's some logistics around that, but, and the pollinator pathway one, that's new to me, Julie, so I'll look into that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking about, so we won't really have a good understanding of like a full year's worth of data or finances from this so you said we've had checks in the summer, so maybe by next summer we'll see what happened through the winter and balance that out, but then this contract, if approved tonight, would start next year. I do like the 1 year term on the contract, just to see how it plays out for a full year.
Yeah, they had proposed a 3-year contract, but
I saw that, and I just for it's new, so I really like the 1 year.
Yeah. You saw 3 years in the contract?
I read it somewhere where it was in there, but yeah, I do like the 1 year.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm done.
No, I agree with
you.
Anything else?
This is
Excuse me.
what we call in basketball a slam dunk.
Yes. I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed sale and purchase agreement between the town of Exeter and Knollwood Energy of Chester, New Jersey, to sell renewable energy credits generated by the town's solar array, and to further authorize the interim town manager or their designee to execute all corresponding documents.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a slam dunk.
We appreciate it, and I really appreciate Kristen, because there were many times where she kind of ran with this project and sort of kind of came back and said, here's where we are. And it probably was more about me dragging my feet with it than anything, because she was pretty well on it the whole time. So thank you to Kristen.
Kristen, you're good at rain. Thank you.
Actually, we don't want rain now, we want sun.
Well, to that end, this is a new process to us. These are new contracts. And frankly, there aren't a whole lot of municipalities that own their own array. So, I want to pass the thanks right back to you, Corey. You have been awesome at really vetting this and bringing it to a point where I feel like we all feel this is in a good position and we can get behind it.
Yeah.
Great. Selectman Chartrand.
I really do appreciate all the work that you, Corey, and you, Kristen, put in on this, but we would be remiss if we did not mention Dave Sharples tonight. Dave did a lot of great work.
100%.
And he's here in spirit. And thank you, Dave.
Thank you for saying that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Kristen, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, next, Mr. Stevens, you've got the supplemental tax warrant.
Yeah, so this is merely an administrative correction. We're just syncing or reconciling the assessor's worksheets with our commitment book out of the tax office. When it reconciles, it's $108 more in roundings that the tax collector will collect. But in order to collect it, they need another warrant for the $108.
Look pretty straightforward. Are there any questions for Mr. Stevens?
I have none.
For the lack of $108, let's do
Should be
it.
a sign when you're
Everything's
done.
got to zero out when you're doing your accounting, right?
So why don't we, let's make I'd entertain a motion to accept the supplemental tax collector's warrant and to authorize the select board to sign the warrant.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a
Julie had
second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And Mr. Stevens, you have the investment policy review to present this evening.
Yes. So according to the RSAs and our policy, the select board is to review and readopt our investment policy once a year. Last year, I brought you a revised policy that you guys adopted, and that can be found on our website. We have a few things going on with our investments in banking this year, and what I think I'd like to do is give you an overview of kind of how the year went, but I'd like to come back in January when I'll have a full set of data for 12 months on our investments, and then I'd like to start every year just doing this in January instead of December. It doesn't make sense to do this now because it's not over, so that's my spiel there. So just big picture in 2025, we started this program about a year or two ago where we're investing our idle funds in just 30-day certificates. The rates have still been very favorable for CDs, which are relatively safe for us. They range from 4.09%. Now they're getting down to about 3.62%. And again, I'll have our interest income results in January. We expanded the program this year. We took $5 million of our TIF, Tax Increment Finance District, idle funds, and we invested those in longer CDs, 2 and 3 month CDs. We did that for about the entirety of this year. We made about $160,000 in interest income. That goes back into the TIF, so it accrues to the TIF, and when that money, eventually the TIF gets sunsetted, that money will get distributed out accordingly. So we'll look to continue to do that going into 2026 as well. The other thing we did, which was a recommendation from our bankers, was we borrowed a bond anticipation note, if you remember, in the summer of 2024 for $3.5 million to seed the public safety complex project. But what they recommended we do, and we could do, just because of the amount of borrowing we did that year, and we stayed in conformity with the laws and the rules, is we were able to invest that money. So while we owed $171,000 at the end of the term, the 1-year term on the $3.5 million, we made about $130,000. So our net interest costs were about $40,000 on $3.5 million. So that was good. In hindsight, we probably didn't need $3.5 million because the project's kind of gone slow, but we did put it to work and try to mitigate that cost to us. So those are some of the things we're doing, some of the thinking we're doing, and we're going to, in 2026, look to further expand that program, which will mean a little bit more of a weather eye on our cash flow, but it will allow us, if we can, to continue to invest idle funds, but just need to be more cognizant of what our needs are throughout the year as well. So a little bit more work on our end, but as we potentially start to see, eventually less revenue from the state, potentially more strain on our tax rate, the more we can do in the finance department to increase our other revenues, we should. So we'll look to do that. I mentioned that we want to come back in January and start an annual cycle there in January. And I'll have more to share in January as well with our investment and banking strategy.
Okay. Mr. Chartrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it sounds like you're spending some time forecasting when money is going to be spent.
That will be important going into 26, yes.
But you've already done that to some degree.
We do that regularly anyway.
Yeah.
We know, the thing about government is the cadence is pretty well baked, right? We know when our big payments are for water sewer. In this month, for example, we know that in August we have our big debt service payments. So we have a fairly decent handle on that kind of cash flow, yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I really appreciate that you and your team have done this and put these idle funds to use. So thank you for that. It's a significant amount of money.
Yeah, it's exciting to see.
I'm appreciative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The money is working for us. Thank you.
So it would be a motion to readopt, and then I'm going to come in January, we're going to do it again, but we do have to do it for 2020.
No, understood. Yep. No, we would love to do that. Are there any other questions, Mr. Stevens, though? And again, thank you and your team for the great work that you're doing, Corey. I would entertain a motion to readopt the town's investment policy for the investment of public funds in accordance with RSA 41:9, Roman numeral 7.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Madam Clerk, I will turn it to you, please.
I have 2 abatements to move for this evening. I just want people to know that the second one has a typo in it. Joanna caught that. Thank you, Joanna. So when I say it, I'm going to say it correctly. So I move map 111, Lot 5, Unit 52, in the amount of $99 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I move map 11, Lot 18, Unit 21, in the amount of $187.60 for the tax year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving to permits and approvals. At our last meeting, we opened, I believe there were 5 or 6 bids for the chemical bids for 2026. The board moved that Public Works take the bids and review them for recommendation to the board. They've done so. There are 4 bid items, and I'm going to roll it into one motion.
Thank you.
If you'll all be patient with me. I would entertain a motion to award the chemical bids for 2026 as follow. Bid item number 1 for sodium hypochlorite at 1.895 per gallon to Univar Solutions in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. To award bid item number 2 for activated carbon to Coin Chemical in Croydon, Pennsylvania. And that's at 2.1263 per pound. Bid item number 3 for potassium permanganate at 2.3100 per pound to Harcross Chemical in Nashua, New Hampshire. And bid item number 4 for sodium hydroxide at 1.2769 per gallon to Univar Solutions in Morrisville, Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Melissa, did you want to speak to the memo from MRI quickly, or?
Sure. So this is something that we get every year from DRA, and it essentially is our municipal equalization ratio. And it is to just notify the community, notify the select board. MRI completes it every year. And then what you would have a motion on would be for the board to sign the 2025 Municipal Assessment Data Certificate.
Is there any questions? No? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to accept the DRA sales ration data and authorize the select board to sign the certification form to be submitted to NHDRA.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion in 3 seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I do have a quick question on that.
Go ahead.
But doesn't impact. So it says that our current sales price median ratio is now 90.8%.
Correct.
Where were we at the beginning of the year after the reval?
I think we were at 94%.
Okay, so it's fallen by a little bit, but not quite as precipitously as it was falling.
Right.
It's slowed down a little bit. Oh, it's in the memo. I apologize.
That's okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay, and the last approval, we have the authorization of the January 2026 bonds, and I believe, Madam Clerk, that you have some reading to do, correct?
Oh, I did not catch that. Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken.
Where do I need to, this whole?
Yep, no, Mr. Stevens is outlined in the memo.
Resolved?
The resolved, so you would start
At resolved.
there until the end there. Correct, Mr. Stevens?
Almost no voice,
Right.
and I get to read it. Okay, so bear with me. Resolved that under and pursuant to the Municipal Finance Act, Chapter 33, NHRSA as amended, New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank Law, Chapter 35-A, NHRSA as amended, and other laws in addition thereto, and to votes of the issuer duly adopted on March 12th, 2024, under Article 5, and on March 11th, 2025, under Article 3 of the warrants for such annual meetings of the issuer, there be and hereby is authorized the issuance of a $8,478,148 bond of the issuer, the bonds, end quote, which is being issued by the issuer for the purposes of financing, 1, the construction of water, sewer, and drainage improvements to the School Street area in the amount of $1,678,148, and 2, the design, engineering, and construction of a new groundwater source off Drinkwater Road in the amount of $6,800,000. The bond shall be dated as of their date of issuance, shall be in such numbers and denominations as the purchaser shall request, shall mature in accordance with the schedule set forth in Exhibit A to the loan agreement, hereinafter described as the loan agreement, end quote, shall bear a net interest cost rate as defined in the loan agreement of 4 3/4% per annum, or such lesser amounts as may be determined by a majority of the board. The bond shall be subsequently in the form set forth as Exhibit B to the loan agreement, and otherwise shall be issued in such manner and form as the signatories shall approve by their execution thereof. Resolved that the bonds shall be sold to the bond bank at the par value thereof plus any applicable premium. Resolved that in order to evidence the sale of the bonds, the treasurer of issuer and a member of the board are authorized and directed to execute, attest, and deliver in the name on behalf of the issuer a loan agreement in substantially the form submitted to this meeting, which loan agreement is hereby approved, with such changes therein not inconsistent with this vote, and approved by the officers executing the same on behalf of the issuer. The approval of such changes by said officers shall be conclusively evidenced by the execution of the loan agreement by such officers. Resolved that all things heretofore done and all actions heretofore taken by the issuer and its officers and agents in its authorization of the projects to be financed by the bonds are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. Resolved that the clerk and the signers of the bonds are each hereby authorized to take any and all action necessary and convenient to carry out the provisions of this vote, including delivering the bonds against payment therefore. Resolved that the useful lives of the projects being financed are in excess of 10 and 20 years.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to authorize the town to enter into the loan agreement with and to sell its bond to the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank, and further authorize the board chair to sign each of the 4 documents.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again.
Sure, excuse me, I'm just getting water.
Okay. The town manager's report, please.
All right, good evening. This is going to be kind of short because we had a shortened Thanksgiving week, and then I was out sick for a couple days, so it's been a very quick last 2 weeks. But I wanted to thank the DPW and all staff who either helped get ready for the parade, filmed the parade, or participated in the parade. And thanks to the fantastic group of volunteers that puts the parade on, which is headed up by Beth Tupel. So it was a lot of work because of the funny snowstorm and the way that all worked. And Park and Rec was out with the chamber on the holiday block party in some pretty wild weather, and everybody did it with having a smile on their face, and it was a great event this weekend. So I just wanted to thank all of the people that put that together. Corey and I have been working diligently on the police and fire substation. We recently have brought Paul Vlasic, the town engineer, who's part-time and wonderfully giving us some time to help us with some project management on that project, which is very exciting. And I've been working with Director Cronin on some feedback about snow removal, plowing routes, how we're using our union employees versus our contractors, as well as reviewing sort of sidewalk removal and that kind of stuff. It's not an easy thing to flip a switch and be done after a storm, even in 28, 48 hours. So we want to make sure that the expectation to the community is appropriate, but that we're putting safety first. So we've been working on that. And as you said earlier, we joined the ribbon cutting at Park and Rec. For those of you that know, I came up through Park and Rec, so I am incredibly proud of the team down there and so thankful to the community that worked to purchase that property. And then with the help of CDFA, we were able to get about $800,000 to rehab this building. And for those of you that don't remember, it was on the warrant article to purchase it and put, I want to say, $100,000 in it. And at that time, we weren't going to be able to use the second floor of the building because it wasn't handicapped accessible. And so this grant through the state allowed us to renovate the building, rehab it, and now we can use the whole building. And it's beautiful. So those of you that haven't seen it, please go down. It's very exciting. And Greg and his team have done a lot of work to get it ready. So very exciting.
Thank you.
Can I ask Melissa one question?
Sure.
Your conversation with Director Cronin, are you guys, part of that discussion, are you talking about the ADA the sidewalks and what came up during
Correct. So
that meeting? Okay.
Yep, we met with Amanda Kelly to discuss what came up through that ADA. I don't know what she called it.
It was
like
a forum.
or
Yeah,
something.
it was a forum, but it wasn't televised.
Yeah, and so the discussion became.
I think Dan and I were there, right, Dan? You were there?
Priority of school routes, or not just sidewalks, but the tip downs for the crosswalks or snowbanks near traffic lights when you're looking to press for the crosswalks. So we're talking about all of those and trying to figure out our capacity issues, because we do have a short staff down at DPW.
Yes.
And then right now we use contractors for plowing only. So the discussion is, do we have a conversation about maybe some shoveling contractors? So we're working all of those out. But there is, a lot of pieces to that, and some of it's timing. When a snowstorm happens, what's the temperature out? How long is it going to last? Is it going to get a nice little flash freeze afterwards? So it's not the same storm every time, but we are looking to improve our response.
I just wanted to make sure, especially we had a person that was, well, I don't think completely blind, but had sight difficulties, and really stressed the difficulty of after the plow came through, or the sidewalks done, the plow came, and there was all this stuff at the end, and it was really hard for them to see.
We're talking
and navigate.
So we're talking, another thing we're talking about is how we put our crews out on the road or out in the sidewalks, and is the shift designations that we're using right now working, or do we need to shift to an all hands on deck for X amount of hours and then move into shift? So we're really brainstorming a lot of different things. And we hope that the community knows we're working on it, because we did see some feedback that there was some frustration. But we are short staff, excuse me. So
yeah,
we're trying to figure
I
the best way
appreciate it. I
to
didn't
deal
mean
with
to
it.
prolong your. I just wanted to make sure that was.
I think it's a great conversation, and I hope that the community knows that we did hear that. We are hearing them, but we're trying to figure out what our capacity to do something is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if I could jump in on this. I'm very pleased to see that you and DPW Director Steve Cronin and others are taking a no storm is the same, one size doesn't fit all approach. For years, it really felt like it was much more of a one size fits all approach. It's a very kind of rote pattern. And I think we're going to get better results, both in our streets and on our sidewalks, maintaining both vehicle and pedestrian access. So thank you for doing that work, and thank you to Mr. Cronin as well. I think the realization that every storm is different is a huge step forward. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was going to pick up on this later, but since we brought it into discussion, I too want to thank Mr. Cronin, Public Works, the work that you have done. Exactly to your point, and especially in New Hampshire and in New England. I mean, no storm is created equal, and there are different challenges to each storm. You brought up timing, temperature change, precipitation change.
Just do the best they can with the forecasting. It's why it's called forecasting.
And I know that Public Works, really hones in on the forecast, and they do their best. We are short-staffed, and I know you're looking at how we can get better. And for the most part, I think we do a really good job. And then there are sometimes, because of challenges, it could be better. I like the approach that Mr. Cronin is taking to ensure the safety of our public.
Thank you.
But also not compromising the safety of our staff too. And everybody all hands on deck for 48 hours doesn't always work.
Dangerous.
It's very dangerous. But I want to thank the few folks that reached out, at least to me and maybe to other select board members, and encourage folks that, if you see a place that is compromised due to snow, contact Public Works. Contact the town manager's office. Contact us. Constructive feedback makes us better.
Yeah.
And that's how we can get better. And we have a very determined Public Works director who has just done an incredible job since he's been here. We have a highway superintendent that can do this in his sleep. But constructive feedback from the public directly to the town is how we can get better. Just complaining about it to anybody other than the town makes you feel good, but we can't fix it if we don't know about it. So that's my public service announcement is constructive feedback is good. We appreciate it. And hopefully we can get better that way.
Thank you.
So, with that, Selectwoman Gilman, Select Board Committee reports.
I have nothing to report.
Okay.
I have nothing to report.
No.
I enjoy these moments.
I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. I don't think that's ever happened.
A couple times.
Does it?
Not often.
I do.
I know you do. I'm going to wait, though. Selectman Chartrand.
Oh, wow. I'm up.
That's for last.
2 meetings that I attended last week. I attended Kristen Murphy and Department of Public Works Director Cronin were both attending a coastal resilience for Swayze Parkway intake meeting, and I did attend that. It was wonderful. The contractor that ran the engineering firm contractor that ran the program did a great job. Both Kristen and Steve did a great job speaking to questions and concerns. And then we did a tabletop exercise where we kind of figured out, like, what would it look like if we resist the incursion of water? What would it look like if we moderate our approach to resisting it? And what would it look like if we retreated entirely? Great concepts that were presented to us in all 3 scenarios, and we were able to give feedback in all 3. So it was a great program, and it was very, very quick. We were out of there in less than 90 minutes. It was very well run. Thank you.
And it's on the website.
Yes.
Yes, because I did the survey.
Was that the New Hampshire Listens?
They were there. They were there as part of it. Yep, they did a great job of helping to format the program. And then on the 3rd of December, I participated in a Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting at 7 p.m., and SAC is continuing to do a great job. And to that point, today, many members of the Sustainability Advisory Committee and Kristen Murphy and our DPW director, Steve Cronin, and Jay Perkins went out to Waste Management and got a tour of the waste management facility.
Oh, wow.
And took a look at mostly the landfill operation, but we did talk a little bit about the recycling operation as well. And we just gathering some great information for how we might move forward as a town on that front. So that was a highlight that happened this morning. I did attend the rec center open house. Both our interim town manager and our select board chair gave very eloquent remarks, and it was great to be able to hear those. And then after that, I rushed over and attended a Complete Streets conversation at Rockingham Planning Commission. They're doing some work on Complete Streets conceptions for the town, and Scott Bogle ran that, and he did a great job. And we had an all-star lineup of citizens giving input on Complete Streets. Anna Grazier was there, Leslie Haslam, Marty Kennedy, Gwen English, Silas Richards, and Amanda Kelly. It was an incredible group, and they gave Scott so much good feedback. So it's been a busy day on the town front for me, but very fulfilling and very rewarding. That's my report.
Appreciate it. Selectwoman Cowan.
I do have something to report. We had the Communications Advisory Committee meeting this morning. Some of the questions for the town manager's office include, are there going to be summaries of the warrant articles in plain English?
Sorry.
Because that started out as a Communications Advisory Committee task endeavor, and then it was taken over by the town manager's office, which was great.
So can I ask a follow-up on that? So my understanding is the town manager's office has always done the info sheets. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
And that's been done for years from the town manager's office, right? And so you're saying at one point, the communications committee took that over?
They did it, and then it was taken over by the town manager's office.
I didn't think so, but I will confirm all of that.
The committee did the first one.
Yes, and then the town, so this was years ago.
Oh,
Like,
so the okay. So the info sheets, I apologize. So the info sheets that Russ does is a new thing that was started by the Russ did, was a new thing started by the communications
like
committee.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I did not know that,
That's
so thank
okay.
you.
No,
I
that's
apologize.
okay.
That's why I'm asking.
That's
Okay,
all right.
perfect.
And so wondering.
That was an example, I think the newsletter printed a story about it, that there was the tale of two budgets, because ours passed because we had all that explanation.
Yes, I remember that. Yep.
That's
I
right.
don't remember
That's
this
right.
at all.
Oh my God, this is going back a million
Okay.
years. And Hamptons didn't.
This is great. I appreciate the information because I didn't know that.
Well, and it's one of those things, and I think it's going to be particular, and the Communications Advisory Committee is thinking it is going to be critically important as we have a tricky budget year. And what does it mean to vote down the budget? And then
for the default,
like all of the things are going to be critically important to talk about. And one of the things that the Communications Advisory Committee always talks about is what happens after the election, and how does the Communications Advisory Committee support the select board in communicating our priorities for the year. And so one of the things that we thought about was, like, we have our agenda setting. How do we incorporate, okay, we are envisioning these kinds of things needing to happen. And also transitioning from here's some sort of, election piece that we need to publicize, to here's why we need a street sweeper, and like what is the full story of telling, so it's not just, oh, well, we want something to beautify the streets. It's like, actually, this is a much more comprehensive, integrated part of the town, and our operations and our resiliency, which are all things that people really support. So one of the things that we had talked about in the Communications Advisory Committee meeting was potentially hinging with the select board around, like, okay, what are the select board priorities? What is the town manager's priorities? How does the Communications Advisory Committee support getting that word out so that it is an aligned strategy and moving the ball forward?
I have a thought. Can I share it?
Sure.
So I know this coming year with, again, the Keegan report, we keep coming back to that, right? That the goal session that the select board has kind of used to just be left where after we had it, we got our report, we knew what our goals were, that was it. And I believe this coming year, it's going to be part of the conversations you guys have with your department head meetings, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then maybe once you get some kind of conclusive, where everyone's on board, maybe that's when the communications.
We've talked about how do we take, we've had this conversation, how do we take what the select board goals are and bring those to each department, and what does that mean for each department? How can each department affect a change that helps to support the select board's goals for the year? So the plan was this year to start sort of like this goal tree, right? Here's our select board goals, and say, okay, now here's the town manager's goals, which then support the select board goals, and how does each department's goals for the year then support, up the tree? And so last year, we worked on getting the operations meetings going and the leadership's teams. And then this year, it's how do we now take all of those things that were put together and put them in a cohesive unit, and see how they're all tied together, because it was the trickle-down effect wasn't happening. It was just staying up at a very large level. So would you like us to work with the communications department once we've worked with the leadership team and the department heads? Or we can talk offline as well, but
I think
just communicating that that's happening.
I think it's like communicating that it's happening, and what kind of support could the committee undertake, because what I do not want to have happen is for the Communications Advisory Committee meeting or team to like build out a strategic plan.
Yep.
That
Excuse me.
That is in conflict with the other things that are currently planned.
Great.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Is your committee looking to collaborate with the town manager's office in creating those notes for the deliberative session?
I think they could. I mean,
Is that something that they're interested in? Or, I mean, I don't want to.
well,
I mean, that's certainly possible, right? I would think.
So what we've done since I've been here, and like I said, I'm not sure if we need to review this, but the E-team will put together an info sheet describing the project. We can't advocate, we can educate, explaining where the funding's coming, why it's important, all of that stuff. We edit them, we, look at all that. If you'd like us to add the step of once those are done, being sent to the communications committee, but the timing of it might be a little tricky because they don't meet that often.
We meet quarterly.
So that, I would have to get back to you on how we do that.
I don't think that is something that they were thinking that they would do. I think that
Just
this is
making
something.
sure that it's happening.
Yeah, right. It was like, if this is not happening, then we can figure out a meeting during the interim.
I misunderstood what you were driving.
I definitely have every intention of making sure that that happens. I find it very, very helpful to our community. I think the street sweeper is a great example, but also why is diversification in our water system important? Just having enough in plain language that somebody can understand, and why whatever happens to be on our agenda is important. So I would be continuing.
Okay, great. That's my report.
That's exciting. The whole goal session thing. I like the whole, the new process of how to, I don't know what the right word is, but.
I do, I think that there's something about alignment and how to communicate with people who are not hearing from us. And I think that is what the committee is very interested in doing.
Okay.
And, with the goal of like, how do we increase participation and voting and support for the things that all of the townspeople put a lot of work and effort into, and also wanting to put the right kind of effort into the right kind of things.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
I did not have any formal meetings. I had a couple of internal meetings with both Melissa and Corey and other department heads. Particularly, we have a piece of correspondence that I've responded to the citizen, and since then we've met internally to try to address some of the concerns. And I would like to say that though Ms. Roy said she was out sick a couple of days, she was actually working through her illness, and I can personally attest to that. So, thank you, Melissa. I attended the parade on Saturday and loved seeing the turnout. It's a very good turnout. The weather was nice. Beth and everybody that works with Beth just did an amazing job. And thanks to those that came out, thanks to the staff that came out, the fire department. And again, today attended the ribbon cutting. The multi-general community center has been important to me since back in my BRC days, and it was certainly one of my platforms when I first ran for select board. So to see that come to fruition and to see the number of age-friendly folks that were there, that were excited, this is just a big deal. This is such a positive thing and something fun. And there are a lot of Rec Advisory Committee members that are still in the Rec Advisory Committee, but there are certainly those that served on that committee in the past that when the Select Board reinstated that committee back in 16 or 17, worked really hard with Greg and you at the time and his team, and just stood and worked hard, and we finally got it accomplished. Doug Dicey's wife was there, and she was able to to give a very touching speech and was so appreciative that we honored Doug's incredible legacy here at the town by naming the senior lounge in his name. It was nice to know that right before he passed, she was able to communicate with him that we were considering doing that. So he was very happy to hear that. So it was lovely to have her and the Dicey family there to celebrate the present and the future, but also to honor the decades of, he was the pioneer of Exeter Parks and Rec, so.
Yes, he was.
It was just, that was special.
I'm glad she was there.
Yeah. So I touched on correspondence. Let's review the board calendar. We'll meet on the 22nd of this month, January 5th.
Will you just, when you come to the dates, I'm so sorry. If we're going to do the budget, I'd like to put a note in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So December 22nd, we'll put the budget on the agenda
Oh, okay.
for us to deliver.
For us,
Yep.
yeah.
January 5th, we'll do the same thing for us to
Okay.
deliver. Either we have something to say or we don't. January 20th is the budget hearing.
Thanks. That's okay. I'll catch up.
I can wait.
I just have to put notes in here. I'm on what did you say the next one was after that?
After January 20th?
Yeah, no, the 5th.
January 20th.
It's a Tuesday.
Yep.
That's right.
The
Thank
budget
you.
hearing. Mhm.
Yes, I have that already.
We meet as the board February 2nd, February 17th because of the holiday, and March 2nd. And two other dates of interest, if I may. January 31st is the deliberative session. It's a Saturday, and that'll be at the high school. And obviously, the election is March 10th.
Okay, so March 2nd is the last one before the election. Oh my goodness, there it is. Okay.
You're good?
I'm good. They were already all in there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, next order of business, I would entertain a motion to move into non-public under RSA 91A 32A.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please.
Selectwoman Gilman.
Aye.
Selectman Chartran.
Aye.
Selectwoman Cowan.
Aye.
Clerk says aye, Mr. Chair.
Aye, motion passes 5-0, and the board will be moving into non-public. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.